You know, the world is absolutely flooded with financial advice, right? It's everywhere. But Ramit Sethi's book, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, really cuts through all that noise. It's a practical, no-nonsense system that's all about taking back control of your money. It's designed to stop you from just thinking about finance and actually push you into taking real, meaningful action. So let's dive into the core philosophy that makes this book such a game changer.
The book just hits you with this question right out of the gate. Would you rather be sexy or would you rather be rich? And believe me, this isn't just some clever hook. This one question gets right to the heart of why so many of us get stuck with money. It frames this fundamental choice that we are constantly making, whether we even realize it or not.
So Ramit makes this brilliant comparison. He says personal finance is a lot like dieting. We love to debate the tiny, sexy details, don't we? We'll argue about trans fats, the newest diet pills, the latest workout fad. And why do we do it? Well, because just talking about it feels like we're making progress. But in reality, it's just a way to avoid the simple, kind of boring truths that actually work.
Okay, so look at this. This lays out the two paths perfectly. That sexy column, it's filled with all the stuff we love to talk about at parties, right? Picking the next hot stock, worrying about geopolitical risk, it makes us feel smart, like we're in the know. But then you look over at the rich column. What's over there? Automating your savings, starting early. These are the things that actually get results. They're simple, they're effective, and let's be honest, they're a little bit boring.
And Ramit just hits the nail on the head here. That feeling of progress you get from endlessly debating the details, it's a total illusion. It's basically a trick our brains play on us so we don't have to do the actual work. It's the perfect way to just spin your wheels and end up exactly where you started a year from now.
So what's the actual damage here? What's the real cost of getting stuck in that sexy loop and never actually doing anything? Well, it's massive. In fact, doing nothing is often the single most expensive financial decision you will ever make, especially when you're in your 20s or 30s. You know there's a name for this feeling? Decision paralysis. And the financial industry is great at creating it. We get bombarded with information. Stocks, 401ks, Roth IRAs, a million different funds, until we're just so overwhelmed that we shut down. I mean, there are studies that show the more investment options people have in their work 401k, the less likely they are to invest at all. Too many choices leads to making no choice.
Okay, if you need one example that just makes this crystal clear, this is it. Let's look at two people, Smart Sally and Dumb Dan. Sally invests just $100 a month, but she only does it from age 25 to 35. That's it. 10 years, and she stops. Dan, on the other hand, waits until he's 35, and then he invests that same $100 a month for 30 straight years, all the way until he's 65. So who do you think ends up with more money?
Yeah, it's not even a competition. Sally, who only put in $12,000 of her own money, ends up with $80,000 more than Dan, who invested 3 times as much cash out of his own pocket. That, right there, is the absolutely insane power of compound interest. It makes it undeniable. The single most important thing you can do to build wealth is just to start early. So, if we know starting is the most important thing, how do we break out of that paralysis? Well, Ramit has this absolutely brilliant antidote for it, the 85% solution. The idea is simple. Stop chasing the perfect, 100% optimized plan because, spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. It's so much better to get started with a good enough plan today than to aim for perfection and do nothing at all.
I really want you to let this sink in for a second. You do not need to be a financial expert to get rich. You don't. You don't need to know what a hedge fund is or how derivatives work. You just need to cut through the noise and start. Being 85% of the way there is infinitely better than being at 0%.
Okay, so this whole philosophy really rests on 3 main ideas. We've talked about the 85% solution. Just act now, you can tweak it later. Next up is conscious spending. This isn't about feeling guilty every time you buy a coffee. It's the opposite. It's about deciding what you truly love, maybe it's travel, and then spending extravagantly on it. Totally guilt-free. And to pay for that, you mercilessly cut costs on the things you couldn't care less about. And finally, you focus on the big wins, the 5 to 10 key actions that are going to deliver like 90% of your results. And honestly, those big wins, that's the perfect place for us to start. So let's forget the small stuff for a minute. Let's actually shift from just talking about philosophy to taking real action by tackling your very first big win. We're going to focus on optimizing your credit because mastering this one area can save you tens, even hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime.
Think about it. Most people totally ignore their credit. Why? Because let's be honest, it's not sexy, it's not exciting, but it is so important. Having good credit isn't just about avoiding debt. It's a powerful tool that literally makes you richer by dramatically lowering the cost of your biggest purchases, like your car or your home.
So, how do we actually get a handle on this? It's simple. We just focus on the biggest pieces of the pie. Your credit score isn't some big, unknowable mystery. Just look at this. Two things, your payment history and how much debt you're carrying, make up 65% of your entire score. 65%! If you can master just those two, you've already won most of the battle.
All right, let's turn that knowledge into a super simple, concrete plan. I'm going to give you 3 simple steps you can take. Literally, you can start this today to master your credit and lock in that first big win.
Step 1, and this is totally non-negotiable. Automate your payments. Set up automatic bill pay for at least the minimum on all your cards. This guarantees you never miss a payment, which nails that massive 35% chunk of your score. Second, pick up the phone. Seriously, call your credit card company and just politely ask them to waive your annual fee or lower your interest rate. You'll be shocked at how often they say yes. And third, if you don't have credit card debt, call them and ask for a credit limit increase. This instantly improves your credit utilization ratio, which tackles that other huge 30% of your score.
And really, that's what this is all about. Forget all the gurus yelling at you to track every single penny and to cut out every small joy in your life. A rich life isn't built on a foundation of misery and pinching pennies. It's built by systematically knocking down a few big wins that do all the heavy lifting for you.
So there you have it. You now see the simple, huge difference between debating the sexy stuff and taking the rich actions. You have a clear 3-step plan for your first big win. Information is not the problem anymore. So the only real question left is, when are you going to get started?